Alright guys, it's 3A Productions here, and in specific it's me, Duck. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe down below, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and comment down below about your experience by uni. And before we get into this episode, I'm just going to introduce myself. I am Duck. You can just call me Mr. Duck if you want. I'm here to share with you guys my experience about university and why I think you guys should really consider apprenticeships and not university, if obviously your career path offers apprenticeship. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So the first thing I wanted to talk about when talking about degrees, well, on university in specific, you need to go back to A levels, and in specific the second year, because the first year is really pointless other than the AS grades, to get them and then obviously apply with them to universities on your UCAS application. But transitioning into the second year, most of my I got good results. I'd done my AS levels. Transitioning now into second year, literally nothing was mentioned of apprenticeships. I mean, nothing. Let that sink in. Nothing was mentioned about apprenticeships. And being, in a finance related, that's what I was studying, finance related stuff. There's a lot of apprenticeships out there for, that type of background. It was kind of weird that nothing was mentioned about apprenticeships. Had a few talks, but by that time, about mid-January, most of, apprenticeships already had their deadlines passed, so it was kind of pointless applying. So instead, we just mainly focused on UCAS, and at the start, as soon as we came back, September, October, November, at the time, mainly focused on UCAS applications. That includes like getting your personal statements done, getting your predicted grades, and of course doing your personal statement. I mean, I actually dreaded this thing, personal statement. Okay, so in this thing you need to write about why the university should consider you, an able student, and why they should offer you a place at their university. I mean, can't be on based on grades alone or what your teachers think of you. It should be, from your heart and what you really think about the university and all these different things like your hobbies and what you can offer the university, basically, which is kind of, a bit stupid in my opinion, because you're essentially writing them a letter to say, hey, pick me, and it's kind of pointless really, because what's the point? You're not going to contribute that much towards a university, in my honest opinion, because you're only there to really get a degree and then obviously move on and get a job. You're not going to stay there for the rest of your life and offer, a lot of work, in my opinion. So moving on. And once you do that, you send it off during December time, and then obviously in January you get your offer back. You apply to 5 universities, and then you obviously have to pick by I think the deadline's in March now, so you have to pick by March the 2 universities, obviously your first choice and then your second choice as a backup. And then obviously you have to get through the rest of the period revising for your exams, and then hopefully getting the grades you want to get to that university. So then once you've done that, you've gone through university, you've got your results, okay, then you can always do the next steps of preparation, which is obviously student finance being sorted out. That's basically, the university fees are paid off, and they're just, all capped up into this big bowl as a loan. The loan's being tied in with a maintenance loan as well if you apply for that as well. That's mainly, your own money really to spend at university in terms of accommodation if you do decide to live out. I never, so it's kind of interesting having that experience. I'll talk about that more a bit later on. And then once that's done, you finally do start the year, and about September times, August as well. There's a few things going on, mainly activities really. And then you go in, start university, and it's very interesting when you start university. A lot of people will tell you, oh, first year is the best time, because it doesn't really count towards your degree and you can just chill out, not much workload. I agree, but it wasn't really fun for me because having not lived out, no accommodation. I was, a home student, so I traveled back and forth towards university. It was very interesting because a lot of people had a lot more time. I was also working a part-time job, so it was very frustrating, trying to do university work and balancing obviously, work. But then I also had to travel back and forth, so it was a lot of time wasted there. Roughly took me about 30 minutes to get there to university, which is not bad. So about an hour-ish every day, wasted traveling to and from university, which looking back, maybe I should have got accommodation, but then again, it's just an extra cost, and it's your personal opinion. If you're a local student, which I was, I didn't really see the point of getting accommodation. So you have to consider it wisely if you want to increase that debt you owe. But I didn't want that, so I just left it as it was, and just decided to travel there and back. So once you start university, you will find out that there are 2 main types of lessons. You have seminars and lectures. So seminar, you ask me what it is. Okay, a seminar seminar is basically, a normal a class, about 30-40 students, 50 max I'd say, all in a room, lecturer just, teaching everyone on a whiteboard or a projector, off a projector, and he goes through a bunch of questions or case study, and you interact with him a lot more, and you can, ask questions, he asks you questions or she, etc., and you get through a lot of work in that time, and then the other main type of lesson is a lecture. In these lectures, big lecture halls, and it's usually about 300-400 people in here. I'm not really in first year because nobody turns up to lectures really, so about 100, let's say. And yeah, you just go through it on a massive projector. The lecturer just reads off the slides. No word of a lie, the lecturer just reads off the slides. You see all these memes on Twitter. I'm going to put some in while you're watching this. And I'm telling you, the lecturer just reads off the slides. I mean, he says all the information is here on the slides. There's just extra reading, but there's no point to it really because it's not really examinable. What is examinable is what's on these slides. So you got to get that into your heads. What's on the slides are examinable, and extra reading is just for better understanding, really. So once you do go through that, you understand, for my course anyway, which is accounting and finance, there's only 2 types of, lessons in other courses such as medicine and other stuff like that. And engineering, there might be more types of lessons, more practical lessons other than lectures and seminars, but I don't really know about that, so I can't comment on it. And then, it's just very weird in first year because literally nobody cares. I mean, the lecturers are just sent to the lecture hall, I'm not joking, and students just walk out when they want and come in when they want. Okay, coming in is not as awkward as walking out. I mean, I've been sometimes at the front of the lecture hall, and some guy all the way at the back, just decides to walk down all these steps making a huge noise, a huge amount of noise because, it's loads of stairs and, it's a lot of people to get through. So you walk all the way down and just go out. Lecturer obviously doesn't say anything because they decide all, students are adults and, can make own decisions, so they, chase up you upon it and expect you to do all your own work and decide whether or not you want to do this work or come to this lesson, etc. And it's just real lack of care from university students, especially in year 1 you'd find. And there's a lot of people who just talk about the most random stuff at university. I mean, I've been sitting in lectures and I'm not joking, these conversations that are going on are very weird. Like, a lot of people, 99% of their conversations include clubbing, going out for drinks, then talk about fights that happened at clubs, this guy got slapped up, who wants to know about that really? I don't know about you guys, but I do not care about those type of things. And you'd also get stuff like people asking others if they do the work, please send it in the group chat. I was in an accounting degree, about another 100 students on this course, including me, and everyone was in a group chat, and they just used to send all the answers to the work in there, and it was pretty funny because I wasn't in this, and it was just interesting. And to hear about this, it was like, wow, that it's nothing new. It happened at my sixth form as well, so it's nothing new, but I just funny because it's an easy way to get work done. Just get other people to do it, and they just send it into this group chat. So again, a lack of effort shown by a lot of students in first year, and it's just frustrating because you put in a lot of work as I am, and you put in a lot of work as I am, and it's just frustrating to see that others are just getting the same grades as you, if not better, because of these all the other people in turn like strategizing with each other, so they're feeding off each other's results and improving themselves, and just getting fake results essentially. But then again, it doesn't really matter since it's first year. In the sense, for my course it does, because there's a placement year included on my course, so any placements that I do apply for, the employer will look at my first year results and kind of decide whether or not to offer the placement depending on the grade, because most employers look for on track of a 2-1 target, so that's very important to look out for. If your degree does include placement, make sure you do work hard in first year, because they'll be looking at those grades as evidence that you are on track for a 2-1. You can't get a 3rd and your lecturer says you're on track for a 2-1 and you're clearly not gonna get it. You know what I mean? Employers will not see that as realistic, because you've shown nothing really that you're gonna get on track for at least a 2-1, which is what they're after. And finally, my last tips for university would be do a lot of research. I mean, there's a lot of different alternatives out there, especially depending on your career path. So I suggest you do a lot of research on your university, on your degree that you want to do, you know, all the different costs, whether you want to do accommodation, how much student finance you can take out, stuff like that. But then also research on a lot of alternatives. So if you have a finance background like me, I'd suggest you do your research very early on. If you decide to do an apprenticeship very early on, you know, research a lot of employers, go to a lot of careers fairs. If your sixth form or college does have a careers team, make sure you go talk to them and, you know, talk to them about how you want to do an apprenticeship. And I'm sure they'll give you a lot of advice on how, you know, what to do and, you know, how to make the most of your time, stuff like that. And, you know, go to university just because everyone else goes there, because, you know, if you do that, then you're just going to waste your money and you're going to have a huge loan hanging over your head. But, you know, don't worry about it. It's not as bad as everyone says it is, because it gets written off after a certain amount of time. I think it's about 30 years, and you only pay a small percentage of it yearly, depending on your salary, obviously. So make sure you do research on all those things. And yeah, see you in the next video. Ducks out.